What's up, people? Welcome to a brand new episode of Wrestle Update. I'm your host, as always, Dylan Fox, and we are knee-deep in a very important time in all of our lives. The holidays are here. We're only a few days away from Christmas. You've got all the other holidays that I always encourage everyone to celebrate for free food, and I continue to do that. That is my mission. That's my quest in life, and I hope everyone has listened to my advice. And if you are, I know you're having a great time. But even if you're not, I hope you're having a great time and doing a lot of fun stuff right now in the holiday season. We've got so much wrestling to talk about today. We missed a little bit of last week, but we're catching up. I told you it would happen. I promised it would happen, and now it's happening. We're going to cover the AEW Continental Classic, as we always do. It's one of our signature moments, and a little bit of Final Battle as well. Well, we're going to cover the whole show. It's actually not a little bit. It's the whole thing. But to do that, I could not do it alone. I could not watch Ring of Honor by myself. That's not something I want to do. But when I'm joined by Nello de Angelis, I know I can do it. You give me strength, Nello, and you give me strength. I'm just along for the ride, man. I don't know if I could do it without you. I really don't.
Likewise. That's why we're a team.
And that's why we're the best team.
Yeah.
But yeah, how are you doing right now? How's your mental frame at, your mental mind state?
It's good. I am thankfully on holiday break right now. That said, I still have a lot of work I need to do. But that's what I use breaks for, weirdly enough. And I do really like that, though. It's like I can kind of go into my own zone. So that's really nice. During the holidays, I always play the Yakuza games. So I'm playing Yakuza 5 right now.
Yes. Here we go.
Something about playing those games during during the holidays just makes sense.
Especially 4, because it's like, you remember you run up the mountains and stuff with Taijima, like shooting stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, like you're trying to avenge a guy that got ate by a bear. But you end up, they all end up forgiving each other. Spoiler alert. And you become friends with the bear afterwards, as we all hope to do in life. What's your favorite Yakuza game in the series?
Oh, okay. So I've played 0 through 4, probably 0 or Kiwami 2.
Kiwami 2 is my favorite. Like that ending. Everybody knows that I'm a sucker for romantic storylines. They come in with the song at the end. I mean, it's really over the top, but it's also super romantic at the same time, and I love it. Like, some people might say it's cheesy, but I don't. I think it's freaking awesome on there. So I absolutely love Kiwami 2. I hated how they started 3. Like, there was such a shit follow-up.
The orphanage.
Well, I didn't mind the orphanage, but I hated how they handled Kaoru's character. Like, where she just left. It was like you had this amazing build-up, like, to at the end of Kiwami 2, and then they literally threw it away in 5 minutes in the start of 3. And I'm pretty sure that they had bigger plans for her, but like they wanted to make her and Kiryu more of a long-term thing. But I heard the original voice actress, they didn't like her, like she was too hot to handle or something like that. There was attitude issues. I don't know what happened, but I had heard that there was a falling out of some sort with the voice actress, and so they really toned down Kaoru. Like, they got her out as quick as possible, pretty much, and then made it more about the orphanage, which is cool. Like, I mean, the orphanage is cool. I mean, I've worked with like foster kids in my life, like a lot and stuff. I didn't even have a dad, so like that touches me, in a lot of ways. But still, the Kaoru's character was so awesome, and the way they built everything up, I really hate 3 for that. 4's ending is pretty gosh darn epic. I have to say.
When like everyone joins up.
Yeah, when the helicopter shows up at the top of the Millennium Tower, that was like my fuck yeah like moment. I was like, hell yes. Like, and then I love the part where they have everybody squared off and Kiryu's just standing there and he's like, you see him look to the corner or whatever, he's like, come on out, Daigo. Like, I know you're there. And he's like, he was there. He actually was there all along. And how they handled it was really good overall. So 4 is a ton of fun. 5, a lot of people think is the best in the series just because you play all these characters on there. Now, I do believe that is the debut of the best Yakuza karaoke song as well, Machine Gun Kiss.
Oh.
Yes. I listened to that unironically and covers of it unironically as well. So 5 and the boss battle theme of Yakuza 5 is also the best in the series. Like the final boss theme. Because they always put like super effort into the final boss's theme in Yakuza games. Like every single one they try to make epic. And 5 is like my favorite version. Even though I don't love how the storyline plays out personally, but I do love the final boss theme of it. For sure. So 5, man, that takes me back. Like I love that game. I love all of the Yakuza games. Even
yeah, I'm
3.
excited. I want to catch up to. I feel like I play like a couple each year usually, so I'm almost caught up to the present now, which has been my goal.
6 is an epic edition of the series too. Even though the thing is, it just depends on how you take going from playing 5 characters to 1. You know, because a lot of people didn't like that. But the way the story worked, I thought it was like basically perfect for what they needed. And that boss theme was fucking awesome too. In Yakuza 6, all of them are good. But man, I love those games. I could talk about Like a Dragon / Yakuza forever. They announced the new. What about the studio announcing Project Century at the Game Awards?
Oh, that looks so sick. Looks so sick.
That was a hot topic. Yeah, we talked about it a little bit off the air.
Yep.
What was your favorite game they announced at the awards?
Oh, the Elden Ring. Night Rain?
Yeah,
right?
Night Rain. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm really into it.
Yeah, I mean, that was good. Like, that was really good. I thought Okami 2 was a stunner. Like that they announced.
Oh,
like,
that's right.
Yeah. I mean, I did not see that coming at all. Like, you know, and they did it overall. They had a lot of stuff. To me, like that was the real winner of the Game Awards. Is that the announcements? I mean, like they're bringing back Onimusha for God's sakes. You know, Witcher 4. That got a lot of people talking on there. So, I mean, there were all kinds of great announcements on there. I think everybody was very happy with it. You got Clive coming to Tekken 8. That was awesome.
Yeah, Final Fantasy represent.
Yeah. There, I heard the rumors that they were thinking about putting Tifa in, which would really be awesome if they did that. But yeah, overall, like I mean, I was satisfied with the award picks, but the announcements were what really popped me. And Project Century was like, that was the one for me. And Okami 2 was like a total shock that they did it. And I'm super hyped for it too. So lots of cool stuff going on. Man, video games are so cool. Man, yeah. I love them very much. But we are here to talk about pro wrestling. 2K24 was nominated for the best sports game too, by the way. There. They didn't win though, unfortunately. I actually think... Well, they don't call it FIFA anymore, but the EA FC was not the right winner, like in my opinion. And I definitely thought that the college football game getting snubbed was nonsensical. But 2K was nominated. We won't be talking about WWE though, but we will talk about AEW here right now. So let's go back a little bit because, like I said, we missed a week. If my projections are in need of no corrections, we need to start off at Winter is Coming. The show with Ospreay, Claudio, and Ricochet, Brody, and Mariah and Mina, and all of that. Ospreay, Claudio, you got 4 stars from the Observer, 7.45 on the cagematch.net, our wonderful listeners and voters as well. So here's the thing. This match was good, don't get me wrong, and I liked it. But
not great.
Exactly. Like when you see these two names, they kind of like scratch the surface of what like they could do. I felt like, and this was kind of like this was the point in Winter is Coming after this show was when I was really like, this tournament, like it's good TV and I like it, but it's not really hitting. But that will change pretty quickly as we get to the other shows. But at this show, I don't know if it was the crowd, I don't know if it was me, but I really felt like they have a way better match in them in the future.
I remember, like, I think that this, like, to me was like a good, like, 3.25. Like,
yeah,
it was good wrestling, but for both guys, like, it just didn't scratch the surface of what both are capable of. And I feel like when you put them together, it should be double that.
Yeah, I mean, I do agree with that. It was still the best match on the show, in my opinion, but, 7 feels right. Like, for this, and you really expect greater things. The show, I mean, a bunch of stuff happened. We don't have to go match for match or anything, but Ricochet Brody King was the other Continental Classic match. It's got a 3 3/4, 6.96. Another good match. I mean, Ricochet, they do worse to him as time went along than having this kind of match. But another one that's kind of indicative of where he was at. Like, he's doing some good stuff, but he's not really standing out that much overall. Like, it wasn't that special of a match. And with Brody, I think that, you have this monstrous guy, but he's kind of in a weird spot where he's like too babyface at this point. So they can't just have him murder people as much as you would like. So I thought it was a little bit more even. Like, they could have had him really beat the crap out of Ricochet and set up Ricochet's comeback, but it was a little bit more even than I would have wanted. But it's still good. Like, again, 6.96 feels fair. I mean, it was a fine match.
Yeah. So the only match I just realized it was last night during Final Battle, Brody King versus Commander. I heard really good things about it. Sounds like it was a very similar match to this one. I know that they just brought in Ricochet and that they want to obviously elevate him in some way, but they're doing it in a very strange way.
Yeah, we'll talk more on that later.
Yeah. I thought this was Brody's match to win, though. I think that Brody's pretty much had the same exact year this year as he did last year at this point. Yeah. And I just see more value in him long term than I do a Ricochet at this point. I think we talked about Ricochet really needing this Continental Classic to be his make or break. I'm still holding out on Okada, but Ricochet, with only a couple matches left, I feel like still hasn't really shown anything. Yeah.
Well, this week against Ospreay is going to be like, this is it. One. Yeah, like this is it for him pretty much, especially after what they did.
I just rewatched their match from, was it 2015?
Yeah.
And it's fucking great. Like, it really is fucking great, and Ricochet really is at a different level. And so it'll be interesting.
Yeah. Like I said, he's doing all right, but he really is just a guy. Like I said, after what they did, again, like we'll talk about that later. But what did you think of the Mariah and Mina match?
So I didn't have a ton of time this past couple weeks, so like I watched this while I was working. So like I would pause and watch the Continental Classic matches. The other stuff I would kind of just let play and listen to. Yeah. I can't really speak on the match that much because of that. What did you think?
I didn't like it that much. I mean, it was okay. Like, it wasn't bad, but for a match they put all this time into, I don't think it really delivered. The main thing about it was Tony's coming back. Mariah and Mina, like I said, they're a fun pairing.
What? Why couldn't they have waited 2 weeks to have Tony return at the pay-per-view?
Yeah. Why would you do that, Nello? Like, why do you want cool stuff to happen on pay-per-views?
Because right now, if I'm not mistaken, Mariah's not going to have another pay-per-view match, right?
Well, that's what do you want, Nello? Like the World Women's Champion to have matches on pay-per-view?
Well, when you say it like that, I just feel like I'm asking for way too much.
Yeah, come on. What do you want?
I'm crazy for thinking of something like that.
Yeah, but I mean, it was nice that this was kind of presented as a special show, like Winter is Coming, and they did give it the main event. it was okay. Like it wasn't a terrible match, but it wasn't anything. I mean, Meltzer gave it 3 3/4. The inmates gave it 5.84, which I'm a lot closer to overall. Like I said, I thought it accomplished what it needed to. Tony came back, and I hate the story that they're telling with Tony Storm at the moment. But it is what it is. Overall. But it was nice of them to get the main event at least. You gave Mariah something in a title reign that's not that healthy at the moment. Mina's gonna face Mercedes at the Dome in the January 5th match, though. Mercedes
good for Mercedes, the pseudo women's world champion of AEW.
Not even the main champion, but whatever.
Oh my God. I will say I have been watching everything Tony has been doing religiously. I've been going back and watching it. I am so into this new character she's doing.
More on that later. Check out Mercedes and Hazuki. That match was freaking great. Like I said, on there. And Mina did totally flex on her afterwards with the dance she did. Mercedes, man, she's got that one move that she does. She needs to up her dancing game. Even though her wrestling is really strong at the moment. Like I said, between the Hazuki and the Statlander matches, she's really growing into form, doing exactly what I said a month and a half ago. Stop having her talk, let her wrestle. Like, that is what you need with her. That is how you use her. They've cut off all the stupid crap. It seems like they're setting up a rematch with Statlander, which I'm up for. I'm totally up for that. I wish they'd give Statlander a little bit more build up instead of just making it like a easy rematch, so to speak. So we move on to Collision. We also did have a match with the more Dome stuff. Willow and Jamie Hayter. Willow got the win. They're pretty surprising with Hayter being a former Stardom wrestler. Willow deserves it, though. It's nice that they're giving her stuff and keeping her around. Very cool.
I think Willow's a great representative for AEW, and I just hope that this means that Jamie's going to get something else that's also equally as important.
That's right. A match with Julia Hart. What everyone dreams of.
Hey, if Jamie is very Chris Stat in terms of powerhouse who can pull the best matches out of her opponents usually, Julia Hart and Stat had such great chemistry. I got high hopes for this feud.
Me too. I actually like their feud a lot. Big fan of Jamie, but I was happy Willow won too. Jamie just has not been able to find her footing yet. She was gone for a long time with the injury. I hope this is the way to get her there. You had Okada and Beast Mordos in a match here, 7.24 on Cage Match. Do you have any thoughts on the Beast and the Rainmaker?
Nothing is sticking out from the match. I remembered enjoying it. I thought that it was a good Okada match. Mordos is just having a hell of a run. He's great. I don't know. I'm very into Beast Mordos, but again, not quite this is an Okada match that's like a day 14 of the G1, and he's I don't know who he's fighting, but it's not like one of those matches that has any sort of weight to it, right?
Yeah.
Yes, Okada has to win, but it's Beast Mordos at the same time. So the drama of an Okada match that is so, important for a great Okada match just really isn't there. But that said, it was still a good match.
Yeah, it was pretty good. I liked it better than probably Ricochet and Brody. Probably a little less than Ospreay and Claudio, and definitely less than the other match on the show in the tournament. Okada's not doing it for me, to be honest. Beast is Beast Mordos rules. I wish that they would give him something though, because it's not just that he's so good and I like him so much. It's that his matches I think would be significantly improved and feel better if he was an actual threat. He's literally a job guy in this company, even going into the tournament. And I think that I don't mind these guys. Him and Commander have wrestled good in their roles, But I think Beast Mordos is somebody you could have a great match. Like, the crowd would be super into it if they thought he could win. There was no way he was going to beat Okada here, and I think that kind of took away from the match. And I think even Okada was like really, I mean, like all of his matches, he never gets out of first gear in AEW. But still, I think if he had really stepped up, had been pushed, like they could have done something really great. But it didn't really happen. It was a good match, but nothing you have to see. I would say. You did end up seeing Tootie Lynn on the show, taking on Chris Statlander, Women of Wrestling represent right now. And then you had the main event, which was Kyle Fletcher and Mark Briscoe. This was the best match of this tournament up to this point. No surprise considering Mark Briscoe's in it. Last episode, we declared it Mark Briscoe week, and little did we know what it was setting up. The ultimate Briscoe match.
The ultimate Mark Briscoe week, part 2.
Yes, and it freaking ruled. This match was so great. Fletcher is taking everything they give him, and he's making it. Like, he's making himself, not just through the tournament, but through everything he's doing. Man, I was so impressed with this match. What did you think?
This is top 3 matches of the tournament so far. They used everything that they could have in terms of a tournament match. Time limit, undefeated streak, underdog shit. Like, it was all the things that can make a great tournament match. They were able to use in natural ways. I love that Mark has cemented himself this tournament. Like, if there's one guy that I hope that they bring back every year, it's now Mark Briscoe, which is, when you look at the field, it's pretty crazy that he's the name you're going to pull out of that hat. But for me right now, like, he is the most compelling person in these tournaments. I like that he's cemented himself as the guy who's able to take out the young guns. With Garcia and Fletcher, like, those 2 wins are very good next to each other. Fletcher was the most compelling he's been to me since the Ospreay match. And, it was in defeat. And I think that says a lot about how much he's made you want to see him lose, hate him, etc. Mark played the intelligent babyface, which I love. He caught the low blow. It was everything that Kyle has tried to do in the matches, or everything that Kyle has done in his matches to get an upper hand or cheat to win, was brought back here and met with, counters or getting caught. So again, It was like everything that's happened in the tournament thus far coming to a head. This was just a fantastic tournament match. Like, I'd go up to 4.5 on this.
Yeah, it was great. Like, it's got an 8.34 rating on Cage Match, which I think is totally fair. Definitely 4 stars. I would go 4.25 on it. I think that these guys really delivered. And it was a match the tournament needed, in my opinion. Because, like I said, a lot of the stuff up to this point was just kind of like, it's good, but it's not that great. Like, this was great. Like, definitely make some time to check that out. I would argue there. So then we move on to this week's Dynamite. You didn't watch the Mercedes match on here, her and Anna Jay?
No, I did not. How was it?
Yeah, it was good. Like, best Anna Jay match that I can remember. So she showed out. The fans were into it. Mercedes is on a really great run. She's finding her footing again just by wrestling. Not nearly as good as the Hazuki match, though, from the New Japan show. That was like a great match. But this was really good. They teased her and Statlander again, which I'm up for. Again, I hope they build up Stat a little bit more rather than just have this dry rematch on there. They did a bunch of stuff, and we got to Shelton and Beast Mordos. Thought the match ruled. I thought it was really good. They didn't the purpose of this match, considering what the other match was on the show. It's not like they tried to tear the house down, but it's just a really good power match for Shelton. Very basic stuff. MVP was on commentary. Beast did some good stuff, but it's funny seeing Beast be the like the underdog, like babyface. He was doing the high flying moves and stuff. Shelton did that run up knee strike a few times on there, knocked him out of the ring. It was good. It was like everything it needed to be. They made Beast look decent, but it wasn't there to be that special. I think 6.57 seems about fair. 3.5 is good too. It was a good match.
Yeah, power moves mostly. Here, it's funny. I just watched what this match reminded me of, and this is going to be so random. Masato Tanaka versus MVP for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship.
Yeah.
Good match, not great. What it really did is like MVP and Shelton in this were both like 3 moves mostly, like your power slams, your suplexes, and your boot, like your thrust kicks. And they exhausted that. But Santos kept finding new ways to come back and stuff. But it was more so like I thought that Shelton looked a bit more limited, even though he still looked impressive as shit. I thought that no guy was really busting out the buzzword of the week, right? Their expansive move set for this match.
Yeah, I love Shelton's Germans though. That's getting
Trio.
over. Yeah, it's getting over. The fans are anticipating it when he does it now, and I just love the way he releases and like he lets anticipation mount. And let the fans chant one more time before he does it. Afterwards, they beat down Beast Mortos, and that was sad on there. And then they had geek baby faces run out there to beat them down too, because Danny Garcia was like, screw you, Shelton, like fuck the Hurt Business. And he was like, I'm not gonna run down there. What do you think I am, stupid? There's 3 of you and 1 of me. I'm not gonna do that. And then he was like, well, on the other hand, I don't care. And then he just went out there anyway. Mark Briscoe runs out, the boy. He's always got your back. He wants to go to war with you. That's why I said I want him on my side in the street fight above anyone else. And then they ran in the ring and they got the hell beat out of him. This was like such a terrible show for AEW babyfaces. like if you want to make your roster look dumb as fuck and unlikable, this is the show for you. The Hurt Business were way better. Like, why would you root for Danny Garcia over the Hurt Syndicate? It was baffling booking. Why would you do this to your baby faces? I don't know. No
one likes a kiss ass.
Oh, well, that okay. So let's talk about that. So yeah, Ricochet came out and he was all like, I've got the cards. I've got an attitude. Me and Ospreay, we're gonna go to war and settle this finally. I came here to wrestle. Blah blah blah. And then they came out and was like, he was like, hey, do you still got that card I gave you? And then Lashley grabbed him by the throat and started choking him, and he like cowardly handed the card over to MVP, and MVP ripped it up and said, nobody likes a kiss ass. And they ended up threatening him, and he immediately left the ring and hightailed it out of there like a coward. I mean, this was a burial. Like, it makes you wonder if he has heat, because he's been saying a lot of outrageous stuff lately about like AEW wouldn't exist without me, and like wrestling's an anime and I'm the protagonist and all this. I wonder if he got heat for that stuff, and they're just like gonna bury him now. Like that's kind of what this read to me, because there's no logical reason to do this angle. Like if there's no logical reason to do it if you actually care about this man being anything or getting over in your company. Like, this is what you do to a geek, not anybody who you consider a valuable player.
This is not what you do to someone the week before they face Will Ospreay.
Yeah, that's his main value. Like, him in particular, that's literally his main value. Like, he doesn't have that much as a character. Like, this is it. A rematch of a legendary match from 8 years ago. Like, and you buried him. Why? Why would you do this?
The week before Will Ospreay, he gets inducted in the Hurt Business. Like, congrats, you're a fucking killer now. You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
Instead, they're like, nobody likes a kiss ass. Like,
he looked like a kid. like
getting a little baby brother.
Yeah.
I'm surprised he didn't yell out, Uncle, when he's getting like grabbed by Bobby Lashley.
Yeah. Why would you do this? I would love to know the explanation. I mean, this whole creative team is just off the wall.
Here's my thing. I always like anytime I just absolutely detest an angle, I try to give it like 3 more shows. And if by the end of that last show, like something like, because it's a month, right? That means that they have 4 opportunities to tell this story and continue it. If by the end of that it's still dog shit, then I completely give up on it. So I'll give them a couple more weeks here to see what they do, because maybe it's a swerve. Who the fuck knows? I don't know. It's pro wrestling, right? Next week, Ricochet could have a dog gimmick for all we know.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's possible. That, well, not the dog gimmick, but the part about it being a swerve is possible. That they were all in on it. They help. They screw over Ospreay in the match, and that helps Ricochet win. Even still, though, I think you could have done something else, like just to have him beat him down, like just have him attack Ricochet. Ricochet fights, and he gets beaten down. Like, that's all you had to do. And you can do whatever, or just have him fake laid out like Eddie Thorpe on NXT. Just have him lay it in the back, and he can say the Hurt Business did it, or whatever. And then it turns out that there was no attack all along. But yeah, I hated that segment so much. Tony Storm, I really don't like this angle. I know that you like the timeless stuff more than me in the first place. So maybe I will admit that maybe I'm a bit of an outlier, because the timeless Tony stuff was good at the start. It was really clever and entertaining. I thought it was one of those things where her character became flanderized. It's like, okay, this is really getting kind of a one note thing. And worse yet, it hurt her matches. Like, she wrestled a lot worse than she did before. And that's really what took me out of it. And I really soured on it. Her coming back, when she came back after Mariah and Mina, she got a huge reaction, like as her normal self. Like the crowd was super into it. She looked emotional at it. Like she was like, I can't believe people love the real me this much. So now they're doing a storyline where they're basically saying it like she's got amnesia on all of this. Like, this is her fresh, she doesn't have any history in AEW in her own mind. I
love it. Because I don't even think it's so much amnesia as it is just trauma. Like, she is back, but like in this, I don't know. I watched this TV show called Servant that basically does this, and it was like a hokey M. Night show. But still good. But like, it's when you are so incapable of facing the truth of what happened that like it's easier to create an even deeper illusion and to almost go back in time to a point where it never existed in the first place. Like, it's just so fucking, I love it so much. I think that her, like, if you said probably top 5 actors in pro wrestling, I would say Toni Storm is one of them. The way that she's playing the role, like her interview with RJ City, where he's looking at her and she's like, so nice to meet you, I'm a big fan. And he looks at her like he's seen a monster. Like, that's just like totally, he has no idea what to say or how to act. And, I think that if they are able to do it in a way where she almost starts to repeat her career, right?
Yeah.
In steps. And then until she eventually gets back to Mariah, and then she has to face, and like all of these characters and all of these thoughts come to a head. Like, I cannot wait for once this Toni Storm character actually faces her trauma. Like, that is the most compelling story to me in AEW right now.
The problem with that is that we'd have to see the Outcast reunited. Is that what you want?
Depending on how they do it, because like if you expedite this stuff and almost have it be like, a month is a week or whatever, like I think you can have a lot of fun with this. I think that it will, like, I think that other people benefit from working with her just because it can touch on different sides, different personalities. I don't know. I'm a Toni Storm lover, so like to me this is brilliant, but I completely acknowledge it's not for everyone.
And they're kind of teasing that like it's all an act. She did that one match. I mean, there was a lot of controversy on her match being on Rampage, her return match being on Rampage, which I see kind of both sides of it. because for this particular gimmick, it's really stupid though. Like, it still doesn't make sense because, okay, she doesn't remember this, but we and everyone making these matches presumably know who she is and what she's done and all that. Like, are we also supposed to pretend that didn't happen? Like, that we've seen? Like, that's what the company's asking us by doing that? Because I don't like that at all. I think that's really bad, actually. They did season the match where she started to do her timeless pose and then immediately like threw up the metal like afterwards, the metal horns afterwards, like, yeah, like I'm still timeless Tony, or but like I'm still Tony Storm, but they kind of gave it like a split second where she started to do her timeless stuff. So that's kind of interesting. That's kind of interesting. Where can they go with this? And another problem is that I just think Mariah is not delivering as champion right now. She started to find herself as a promo. The match quality is not there at all, and I'm not that interested in anything she's going to do. So I kind of just want to get to the point of all this and just get Tony beating Mariah, because that's where it's obviously going. But we have to wait until Australia, and that's another thing that makes the storyline suck. Like, it has a predetermined destination, like, pretty much. And that makes it a lot less interesting. The beats of it could be kind of cool. I like the tease that, like, okay, she's still timeless Tony deep down, but she's tried to, she's basically cosplaying her old self here. That's kind of nuanced and interesting, but I don't know. I just rather her just be herself and want to beat the hell. Like, cut a promo saying, I'm going to kill you and take my title back, Mariah May, for what you've done. Like, that's all I need. Like, I hate you. Like, you took my title. What is her... the thing is, because she had already kind of advanced past the turn itself, like with the bottle and everything, in the title match. I guess losing the title was what broke her now and, made her back. Which, I mean... Yeah,
the betrayal of Mariah, the losing of the title. And I think we'll get there with, the I Kill You stuff. It's just,
she kind of got over
the story first.
I mean, that angle where she turned on Tony was amazing. Like, that was one of the AEW's best angles to me. But so the thing is, though, she had already got over that. Like, because remember, she had dressed up as the cameraman or whatever and attacked Mariah, and we were at that I'll kill you phase of the feud. So I suppose the original turn into Timeless Tony was because she lost the title originally. So I guess that's kind of a neat deal that like losing it now would turn her back is kind of a fun idea, but kind of bringing up your M. Night thing. And I was watching this the other day. So there's an old episode of South Park where terrorists invade Imagination Land and the government doesn't know what to do about it. So they're like, we need to get directors in to help us. And they bring him on, like M. Night Shyamalan. And they're like, what do you think? Do you have any ideas? And he was like, what if the terrorists were werewolves from the future on there? And they were like, what? And he was like, well, no, they were like, no, they're terrorists. Like, they're definitely terrorists. We checked it out. And they're like, and he's like, well, what if they weren't terrorists, but they were the ones being terrorized by aliens? And they were like, no, that's not an idea, that's a twist. That's how I feel about this storyline. Like, these are not comprehensive story structures, they're just twists in there. And then there was another one where Michael Bay came in and he was like, what if we had an 18-wheel truck and it crashed and it was full of explosives on there? And it was very funny. That whole segment was very good. Better than the Tony Storm stuff, in my opinion. But I know a lot of people love the Timeless Tony thing. So we'll see if they get back to that. Well, okay, let me ask you this. What's the end game of this? We know she's going to win the title. Is she going to be her normal Tony Storm self, or Timeless Tony, or some third amalgamation of everything?
I mean, I think that my hope is that she would finally just be able to be the champion as herself, because the first time she won the title and she was herself, she was not called the champion until after she lost the title.
Yeah.
She was retroactively made champion. So she was, and if you look at it right there, that is such a tear in the fabric in terms of how you view yourself. I'm the champion, but I'm not. I'm making the defenses, but they don't count. There's no record of what I'm doing. It's all for nothing, but it's all I have. And then after that, she starts to lose sense of herself. Mm-hmm. She's the champion, not as herself, but like this, absolute fucking hallucination. So I would hope that she's able to come into herself, be happy with it, overcome the trauma, heal, and like fucking rock on, dude. Throw up those metal horns.
That was so stupid. That interim title reign stuff. And I like what you're saying. Like the psychoanalysis of it all is really good, but it never should have that never should have happened in the first place. Like it was such a bad booking on their part. But I like what you're saying. You're kind of winning me over a little bit on this, but I don't know. Like I just want these people to wrestle good. Like, is that so much to ask right now? Well, apparently is. Speaking of bad booking, Death Riders, this stuff blows. Like I hate this storyline so much. It's not as bad as the MJF and Adam Cole stuff, to me. But this is going nowhere good. They had a good segment a couple of weeks ago where Team AEW, as they christened these three, worked together. And they actually got a great pop from the fans, and that was very nice. Everything about the Death Riders this week might have been the most insulting of them all. So they do this whole thing at the start of the show where Jay White's cutting this promo, and he's like, yeah, I wish I had the Bang Bang Gang here, but instead I gotta trust geeks like Orange Cassidy and that loser Hangman Page. All he ever is good for is letting people down. And Hangman's like, I don't care about you. I don't care about Orange. But Moxley's mine. The title's mine. And Jay White's like, okay, bro, whatever. And then they walk away. And so the main event comes. Jay White, like they do a 6-man tag. It's those three versus the Death Riders. And it's like Moxley, Yuta, and Pac. And they're like, he tags in to get Hangman out of the ring. And Hangman's pissed. He's like, I told you I wanted Moxley. And so then he just walks away. He leaves them behind in the match. And so they wrestle this match, and Orange gets taken out too. So Jay's kind of like working this 1-on-3 babyface gimmick, which doesn't play to anything he's good at. But whatever. He goes on, and they do their thing for a while. Orange finally gets up, and he comes in with a really good like hot tag type situation. But then everybody gets laid out with the numbers game. Suddenly Moxley's in the ring, and who shows up but Hangman Page running back in. And so they come in, they do a bunch of stuff. He goes for the buckshot lariat. But then Orange runs in with an orange punch, and Hangman's like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like, I was about to knock out Moxley. Why'd you do that? And he's like, well, screw it. I'm going to knock you out instead. So he goes for the buckshot lariat, but Orange ducks, and he hits Yuta with it, which they could have turned into a finish. But instead, everybody gets up. Like, all three of them start arguing in the corner with each other. They're like, this is all your fault. He's like, no, it's all your fault. And he's like, no, you're stupid. He's like, no, you're stupid. And while they're doing that, Moxley sneaks in the dangerous killer who's ruined AEW and is taking over. Schoolboy's Orange Cassidy for the win and immediately hightails it out of the ring. Who books this stuff? What the fuck? What is this angle?
Imagine if you're watching that and then they're all arguing in the corner, and then all of a sudden you see a fan slide into the ring and they break them up and they're like, guys, this is what the Death Riders want. And it's me. And then I am team AEW as well now. That might have been better, honestly. And then the security comes in and beats the shit out of me. But OC, Jay White, Hangman, they're like, no, we get it now. We need to stick together.
Yeah.
That could have been great.
Yeah, it could have been something.
Anything could be better at this point, Dylan. We could get you could have the Miz be the fucking secret power behind the Death Riders, and it would at least make this more entertaining.
Yeah, what happened to the higher power? Like they haven't even brought that up in a while. What's
Shane
the
McMahon said, brother, I'm taking a long Christmas vacation. You guys got to get me after World's End. There has to be some kind of massive angle because, assuming that Moxley wins at World's End, you are taking out 3 baby faces at once, essentially. Yes, you can do a one-on-one with either of them, but you've already done the one with Cassidy. I feel like they're doing this 4-way because a one-on-one with Jay White is not going to sell the pay-per-view. The only one that I feel like you could really do after this is a Hangman Moxley. Like, that's a match that I would love to see one-on-one again. I thought their Texas death match was fucking awesome. Like, second only to Swerve at Hangman.
Yeah.
But it's to say that I feel like the Death Riders need a big shift because, like, who's next for them at this point? Like, I mean, maybe some people coming out of the Darby. God damn it! Of course, I completely forgot about Darby.
Yeah, can we skip to him winning the title? Like after this match he had, like, let's just get rid of this Death Rider stuff, blow this up. I honestly thought at first, before we saw this main event that we're going to talk about, so to me, in this whole angle, with all due respect to Cassidy, who I respect a lot and think he's a great worker. Jay, I think, has been improved as a babyface. Like, I think he's done a lot better job than he was as a heel. But the energy in this feud happened when Hangman ran in and stood with them. Like, that's when the crowd really took it as a main event level angle. Like, he is the one that the fans want to see, like, as a top guy more than the other two. So I would have said, like, look, let's just, first of all, this title needs to get off of Mox. Like that's all there is to it. This is kind of a minor.
Dude doesn't even wear the fucking title.
That I was just about to bring that up. Like,
and it's not like OC at least wore it in the backpack when he come to the ring and he'd take it out, right? Like, there's something charming and endearing about it. It's what he does. It's what makes him comfortable, right? Maybe he doesn't like the way the texture feels around his waist. I don't know. I support him. But Mox with the briefcase and having Marina Shafir carry around like the world title of the company is so absurdly fucking stupid.
I was just gonna bring that up. Like, it's a minor thing, kind of. But you forget he's the champion. Like, if you watch this show every week, like, you think, Ken asked me that when we were watching. He was like, who's the champion? I was like, oh, yeah, Moxley. And like, you forget because it's never shown. We never see the title. It's always in the briefcase.
And
just pull it out of the damn briefcase.
Here's the thing, like that's very strange is when you look at Moxley's other title reigns in this company, they've always been company-saving title reigns, and not to the extreme of like the company was going to go under, but like Moxley piloted the ship. Yeah, Moxley piloted the ship throughout the height of COVID. Moxley managed the entire CM Punk fiasco both times. And like, dude, he was the guy to do that shit. And he stepped up and he was so good each time. And that's what it's like. I am just so dumbfounded. And it still feels like the most confusing thing to me is that for a guy who typically could, it's him and Eddie Kingston cutting a promo 2 weeks before the pay-per-view. And that's all you need to tell the entire story. Right? But it feels like we're still in week 1 of this Death Rider story.
Bottom of the third.
The ball has not been, oh my God, the ball has not been moved at all. It's still the same, like, it's very Bray Wyatt coded in terms of you're going to say things, but it doesn't mean shit.
Yeah. Like a lot of vague statements for exactly what they want AEW to be. Like, no definitive, like, they just said we want AEW to change. People have become complacent. What that means and where you want it to go has never actually been said. And I think that's kind of a tough part about the storyline as well. Because even FTR, and that's why I think that's why they've been so vague. Because if they come out and say, like, okay, there's too much dumb crap on this show, like, we want to get back to real wrestling, the fans are going to side with them. Like, a lot of fans. So they have to be kind of vague about it, I think. Because we kind of saw it with the FTR promo earlier in the show, where they were like, I agree some people do need changes, but I draw the line at trying to pour poison down a man's throat. It's like, listen to yourself. Like, how do you listen to that statement? I draw the line at pouring poison down a man's throat. That's where this storyline is right now. Can you guys not see the issues with this? I don't know. But we'll see where it goes. Maybe they're just trying to, like, this is like they're in neutral until we get to Max, and maybe we'll see some big changes for real after that. But this ain't it. This Death Rider stuff.
HBO Max. I thought you meant MJF coming back in the world title picture. I was like, Dylan, what the fuck do you mean, dude?
No, that's
oh
not.
My God,
That's the last thing we. That's the last thing we. I apologize. I apologize for not being clear. That's a nightmare scenario. I don't want to talk.
I was like, what do you mean we're not holding back until Max, brother?
No. Please no. Like, yeah, that's a. I don't think this angle is as bad. I mean, the MJF and Cole stuff did legitimate damage to the company. Like that drove off a lot of people, and they've never actually recovered. Like attendance wise, ratings wise, blah blah blah. This isn't as bad as that, but it's kind of telling that their worst stories are always around the world title. Like that's the thing that they suck at most for some reason, and I just don't understand why. Why can't they just do a good title reign? Like, just let these guys wrestle. You saw the blueprint for it with Orange Cassidy. Like, he was a great champion. Everyone loved him. Why? Why would you have to do this stupid crap over and over? But we'll see, like, what his grand master plan is. But finally, the main event was Will Ospreay and Darby Allin. 5-star match from Dave Meltzer. Do you agree with that?
I could give this like 4 3/4 as highest I could go.
That's what he gave Mercedes and Hazuki, which I 100% knew was going to happen.
Yes. Oh, it's the greatest women's match of all time.
Yeah, 4 3/4. Yeah, like the thing is, okay, so right away we have to say this. I don't hate Meltzer at all. Like I respect him a lot, and he gets undue nonsense thrown his way a ton of times. But the accurate way to look at his star ratings, you have to think of him as a worker first and foremost, because he knows what to say to get people talking. Like you think he doesn't know what he's doing when he says that he gives a 4 3/4 rating, and what happened? Everybody went nuts on Twitter over it and talked about it. Like you have to remember that as well. That people talk about these ratings. Say what you want about him. There's no question people talk about his ratings. So you have to remember that when you analyze what he's doing first and foremost, I would say. But I continue. So I same thing even with this. I mean, another Ospreay 5-star match. I saw the stat on here that like this was like Ospreay's 45th 5-star match that Dave has given, and it was Darby's first that he's ever had.
Dude. No, gotta be. Did he give the Sting retirement a 5?
He should have, if he did, but let me check just to be sure. Here. Man, that match was so great.
Might have been you.
I gave it 5 stars for sure. Yeah, no doubt about that. Okay, let me see here. What's his rating? 4 3/4. Dave, you bastard. Dave. How can you do this?
Dave tweeting out Sting's retirement match is the best women's match on U.S. soil. 4 3/4.
Or the best retirement match of all time.
So when we were talking earlier about Ospreay and Claudio, right, and the 4 types of matches that you can have at a first time meetup, but no, this is the one where it's like their chemistry was so good, and they were like, this was probably like, if you're talking about a first match level of chemistry with an Ospreay in the ring, this is probably the best besides Shingo. The flips they did, all of the counters, everything was so crisp. Like the way that Darby was able to flip and bend and do all these, like I was just in awe. It was the same type of like, holy shit, wow, I felt watching a Ospreay Takeshita. Just really high level wrestling where you're seeing things that you have not seen before. And both guys are unleashing their move sets, and they are, doing everything they can against each other. And to see how they like those move sets collide and counter and work with each other, like it was just fascinating, and it was exciting pro wrestling. What did you think?
This was the match of the tournament to me. Like this was that match of the year level G1 match that they really needed. And Darby continues to like this match was really like the critics' choice for the best wrestler in the company and the actual like versus the actual best wrestler in the company, in my opinion. Like, Darby is just on a next level, and he was so damn great selling things that it actually was able to change Ospreay's match. A lot of times, Ospreay, listen, nothing against Ospreay. You know, he's done a lot of great things. The crowd was super into him. You could make a case that he could have won the title earlier in the year. I think Swerve delivered great and, you know, did a lot of great things with it. I'm not hating on that at all. But I do think that he's a great wrestler now and very important to the company. But a lot of his matches kind of follow a similar arc in them, and that they're so much focused on him. This match was way different than that because Darby sold so well and, you know, I did all the crazy stuff that he does to hurt himself, probably for real in certain cases, that it really slowed the match down and made Ospreay work almost a different style. He still did a lot of Ospreay stuff, but he did a lot of focused work on Darby. Obviously, the turning point was the coffin drop onto the apron, which, I mean, was just devastating. You know, that GIF can be viewed 1 million times and it never gets old just because it was so crazy. That led to an extended heat sequence on him. Darby sold great. They ended up turning it up. You know, Darby got his hope spots. They were doing a lot of technical stuff early on, which I really liked as well, which Darby was kind of known for originally on the indies, that he was doing Yave stuff in addition to his crazy stunts. They build it up to the point where Ospreay ends up catching him on the apron, hits the Styles Clash on the floor. But the key point of that was when he hit the Styles Clash on the floor, he hurt his leg doing it. And that kind of gave Darby like that one glimmer of light that he could attack with. And it led to him rushing, you know, pushing the pace, hitting the coffin drops and getting the win. I took 2 in a row to win it. I put over Ospreay good. It was a great match and also great booking of the block. I really like what they're doing with Gold League with everybody tied at 6 outside of Commander. You know, like they're setting things up for a dramatic ending for the tournament. And this match was like the shining star of the tournament so far. I thought it was fantastic and one of the best TV matches really in this company's history. I would argue. Like, yep. I thought it was fantastic.
Yep. Agreed.
Yeah, you know, 4 3/4 seems fair, but but only because I'm an extremely hard grader. I don't give 5-star matches out very often. I'm not like Dave. There, you're lucky if you get 1 or 2 a year from me on there.
Yeah, the last one you gave was like what, Tanahashi Tenzan 2006.
That Tenzan was too hurt by then for that to be it. But no, like I said, I would give the Sting retirement 5 stars for sure. That was amazing. Like, that was a great match. But this was great too. This would be like the second best match of the year, I guess, on there. But still, like, very compact too. 14 minutes, 38 seconds. Didn't need to be any longer than it was. The match was amazing. Everybody tied at 6. Where will they go from here? I like it a lot better than Blue Block, which is faced on Okada, which doesn't do a lot for me. And Fletcher, who's done a great job, I have to say. But we'll see where they go. This one feels like it's wide open. It can go either way. You have to think Ospreay. Really, these two should be the two that advance, in my opinion. But I don't know. Like, I don't know where they're going to go. But it's nice that everyone's tied going into it. So, let's talk about Ring of Honor now. Many interesting things to talk about. So, first question with ROH. Because they've been doing these, like, the last couple of weeks, they've given Jericho, like, segments that are like, I'm the king of New York coming in. And they give him, like, a minute or two. They call it the New York Minute, where he can promote the Ring of Honor shows, promote his match with Matt Cardona. Which, by the way, very funny after our last episode, which we talked about them pulling Danny Garcia off of the GCW shows. What do? Here's Jericho in GCW now. What do you think of this? Like, what do you think of Cardona being the choice and the back and forth they're doing with GCW?
So I love GCW. I don't love GCW. I don't know. GCW is GCW. We're like,
You were there. You saw Joe Shit in a match.
Rob Shit. Put some respect on the name of Rob Shit. Joe Shit. His brother? Come on.
Yeah, my bad.
Doesn't wrestle anymore.
I apologize.
No, Joe Shit's actually on an excursion right now with PPP in Tokyo, so check him out there. No, like I love GCW, but I feel like they are their own worst enemies at times. And that's like a lot of the time I would say more so booking stuff, like having Janela lose at spring break to Blake Christian after 30 minutes off like some bullshit like JBL or whatever, right? Like what the fuck? But all of it's to say like I don't think that much of it. Like GCW needs buzz for their Hammerstein show. They're not moving tickets. They're at about 50% sold right now, and they already closed off the whole top balcony. So they need to move tickets for their show. And I don't know what else that they can do within their own bubble to actually generate buzz. You've got your main event stuff with Ali Catch, Mance, and Effie already set up. You've got your legends announced for the show, most of your main people matches. So it's like, what else can you really do? Like your angles are set up. It's like, I don't think a contract signing between the three of these people in your main event's going to like sell more tickets or anything. So they need this. Whatever Cardona's doing for them right now, I feel like has them actually in the conversation. And yeah, I don't know. They need to generate buzz. So, and this feels like it's doing it successfully.
Do you think there'll be any follow-up with Garcia?
Wait, Garcia or Starks?
Oh, yeah, Starks. Yeah, will there be any follow-up for that?
I have no clue. Like, that's what's really, like, especially weird about it is, like, Jericho showing up at GCW after Starks and Mac were both pulled.
Yeah,
because
weird.
I was supposed to see Willie Mack versus Joey Janela, and then they pulled Willie Mack, supposedly, or what was it, told him not to go in a roundabout way. Like, well, whatever, grow up. It's pro wrestling. Just let people make fucking money.
Crazy.
Or just,
like whatever they're trying,
damn.
what are they trying to accomplish with this? I wonder. There's so much you could say about with AEW right now, and the show we're about to talk about. Did you watch the 0 hour of Ring of Honor?
I saw the Lee J versus I already forgot match.
Gates of Agony.
Yeah. Oh my God, man. I think the Gates of Agony are really bad.
How could they do this to my boy, the Judge?
Like I think a lot of it is Toa Leona. He is like a monster who, like, does none of his mannerisms are monsterish. They're very stilted, very stiff. He walks around like it's not like a physically imposing force. It's like a duck. And
like a duck.
He's like a duck. It just constantly takes me out. I think their tag team offense is so boring. Very one note. This was like Lee J wrestling ragdolls, pretty much. I don't know. This did nothing for me. And then I was like, fuck, I hope this show's not that long. And then 5 hours later, Dylan. 5 hours later.
Yeah, so we also had the Grizzled Young Vets took on the Dark Order.
Which was crazy that was the opening. Like, the Grizzled Young Vets, I feel like, are a pretty well-established tag team, or like pretty good. And I don't understand why they're here and not on TV.
I just, grit your teeth. Like they're gritting their teeth right now in Ring of Honor.
Yeah,
I'd be gritting my teeth too if I was booked in ROH. So I mean the catchphrase works. Yeah, I mean solid veterans. Like all four of these guys. I mean Reynolds and Silver are a good team. Like,
and the big thing right now is it feels like they're trying to build their own identifiable Ring of Honor roster, right? Is what a lot.
Well, they're doing a really bad job of it.
They're doing like this. For the record, I've liked all of the Ring of Honor pay-per-views since the TK era for the most part, like a lot. I think they've always delivered. I thought that this was by and far the worst one.
Yeah, this was the worst by far. Yeah,
this was the worst, and it felt like the Like, they just did not have any talent available for this show or whatever. Like, for the most part, I was just really taken aback by like the lack of talent on the show. And then when they did have talent, the position that they were in.
Yeah, I mean, this show was baffling on many levels. But I will say this, you know, the thing is, I remember the first show in the TK era, the pay-per-view. I remember it had Vikingo and Beast Mortos on there. They had this amazing match, and everyone went nuts over it on WrestleMania weekend. I said then, like, a lot of people were praising that show. I thought it's not that it was a bad show. It's that this company is going nowhere because it's really just AEW Dark, like under a new name. Like, they did not do nearly enough to make Ring of Honor have its own identity. Like I said, that would have been one of the first things I got some people around the table about, like, look, we need to make this as not like Dynamite as we can. Like, everything we can do different, we do it automatically. Like, we make things grittier, we tone things down, maybe have a new entrance way, take out, everything should be different. And they just totally failed at that. And now they don't have their own roster that means anything. Ultimately,
there's nothing about this roster that says Ring of Honor. It like you said, it what it gives is AEW Dark 100%.
Yeah, this show proves that. Like, just look at this show. Like, if you want any more evidence of that, and
because it's either like new acts. Sorry, it's new acts that they're trying to slot in as part of this roster, like your MXM and your Grizzled Young Vets. It's old heads like I guess McGuinness was a one-off, but then it's like these AEW cast-offs that people don't want to see on TV, but they think has value, like Dustin Rhodes, Sammy Guevara, Chris Jericho. Like, what the fuck do any of these people have to do with Ring of Honor? And I'm not saying like the history of Ring of Honor so much as just the brand itself, because none of them give that feel of what Ring of Honor is like is or was, or just fucking anything. It's a very poor mix of people that has no real cohesion whatsoever. And I'd say that it's, on the men's side, it's way more present.
I mean, Mark Davis was that's a 6-man match. What?
Yeah.
It's just like,
and I mean, and you could argue that Kyle Fletcher was last year, and like that's where he made his that's like where he started his big push, but like we did not see that here.
Yeah, like that should be like one of their goals. If this roster's like, if this brand is going to continue, they need to like 100% commit to it. Like, they can't be doing this back and forth stuff anymore. What they should do is like permanently. The thing is, what they need to do is something I know they won't do, which is take one of their big stars and permanently put them in Ring of Honor, like to be the face of the brand. Like, and not like Jericho, with all due respect. I mean, like an actual main event player that's popular and people like a Hangman Page level player. Like, and make him the Ring of Honor champion. And until that happens, I think this company's really in trouble. It's been said that they might be nearing a TV deal, so maybe that will change things if they get that somewhere. But other than that, I don't know.
All right, let's talk about the pay-per-view.
Yeah. Also, I do want to shout out 0 Hour. We got to see Hanako, and they're fresh off of her Goddesses of Stardom Tag League final appearance with Micah. She is very tall. I think that is the thing. That is the impression she left on viewers. She's almost like 6 feet tall as a woman. Like, everybody thinks that's cool, I'm sure. Harley Cameron, very fun. Her song for Christmas was amusing. It's Harley Graham, on there. But yes, Hanako, good to see her from an odd excursion from Stardom, or just for a one-off, probably. That's another thing you could do. Make Ring of Honor the spot for your international talent. Whenever you get somebody from another company goes on excursion, say, hey, we'll take so-and-so, like in Ring of Honor for a year. Like, do that. Like, do that. Like, give us Hechicero as the Ring of Honor champion and have him do a series of things. But anyway, let's talk about the show here. Ring of Honor Final Battle from Hammerstein, 1,408 fans. The King of New York tried to put this over on Dynamite. Some would say that it didn't really work. Although that slice of pizza he got on that one video was pretty good, I have to say. But the show starts off. We've got, an opening video. They're like, hey, look at Ring of Honor. We have so much in the past, but what about the future? And then it comes out, Atlantis Jr. is here to start the show and taking on Mansoor. And you mentioned before that like MXM was like one of their acts they're trying to do. Was this what you wanted to see in your Ring of Honor? Did you want to see the tips get touched?
I like MXM. I think they're funny.
They're very funny.
Did I think Atlantis Jr. was the right opponent for this? No. This dude probably showed up to work. He's like, so I'm here to wrestle. And they're like, kind of tonight. Like, we're gonna have Danhausen out there. He's like, who? Like, okay, he's gonna curse the dude on the outside of the ring, and the dude on the outside of the ring is gonna be touching tips. We're gonna be posing. Like, it's just such like he's such a like when I think of Atlantis Jr., he's a very straight player, right?
Yeah. He's not touching tips in his
no, and I thought like it was just a very weird matchup to make. But granted, I don't watch weekly Ring of Honor, so if there's a storyline reason for this to happen, I didn't know. But yeah.
And that's why I forgive a lot of these random matches, because I just kind of presume that there must be some kind of reason for this that nobody's aware of, because they don't watch the Ring of Honor show. They've yet to wrestle. Atlantis has not wrestled in Ring of Honor recently at all. Sure. Like overall, and listen, I'm all about touching tips, but that's not enough when it comes to this. Okay, I need more than that, Nello. I need more than touching tips to make my heart happy, and this did not make my heart happy, even with Danhausen.
Yeah, no, this is like the perfect example of an AEW dark match on a pay-per-view.
What about his appearance? Like, instead of he punched him right in the nuts.
Yeah, I thought that was honestly pretty funny. I did laugh at that. See, Danhausen coming back, that was another thing where this pay-per-view felt like they're trying to really set up a roster. They're bringing back the outcasts, the people that just haven't been on AEW. I would like... Why not make Ricky Starks your fucking star of Ring of Honor?
That would be perfect.
So good. He is so goddamn good.
He is. Starks.
If you don't want him to go to NXT, have him run your NXT. Like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I mean, we kind of went over the Stark situation last episode. It's still stupid. Like, they're still wrong for what they're doing. And your idea of making him the man of Ring of Honor, put all these guys on there. Just say, look, okay, you guys don't want to do jobs, fine. We're going to put you in hell, also known as Ring of Honor. But you get to run it. Like, we'll let you beat all of these geeks that we have here and eventually just put over somebody on the way out. That would be perfect. So afterwards, Atlantis won with the splash from the top. I thought this is all goofy stuff. Like you said, not what you would probably want to start off the show. Like, this would have been better in the middle of the show, in my opinion. Afterwards, Madden comes in. He attacks Atlantis Jr. Then Danhausen comes in, hits the curse, and then the German suplex.
Hits the curse.
Yeah. Then he uses the teeth and blah, blah, blah. So, yeah. Danhausen, like you said, bring all the guys that are have heat and they're disgruntled. Put them in Ring of Honor. That's your punishment. Jericho comes in, and he's all like, can you smell the hot dogs in the sewers on here? Which is very funny. He's like, this is Jericho City. And I was like, yes, Jericho City and sewers does sound very accurate. He talks about all the cool stuff he did in New York. He's like, I met the mayor. I had pizza. I'm like Juan Soto, which he is not. Wrestling's answer to Juan Soto. I am much closer to Stanley Kubrick than he is Juan Soto in wrestling. He goes on and they start to chant for the Mets. And he's like, "Thanks, guys. That's why I'll be the champion. Go Mets." Okay. Like, great build up there. Up next, we get Shibata coming out. And he takes on Dynamite Kid, Tommy Billington.
This is the shit I'm talking about. You got Katsuyori Shibata, and you're going to have him fight Tommy Billington. Why? This is AEW Dark.
It is. Like, you're right. But I will say, maybe especially after the last match, I was already like dreading this show. I thought this was a good match. Honestly, I am a big fan of Tommy Billington. I think he's got a ton of upside. I think he's a guy. Like, this is a guy who should be one of the main guys on Ring of Honor, in my opinion. Shibata, you know, I don't know if he fits that much, but still, you know, just to have, I think, like, a lot of these undercard matches, I really get the vibe they just wanted to put the best match together that they could. And I think that's what this was here. It was short, but they really went all out here. Again, I don't want to oversell people on it. It wasn't Darby and Ospreay. It's got a 6.31 rating on Cage Match, so I guess more people agree with you than me. But I thought it was a really strong 9.5 minutes. I thought they worked well.
I thought you were about to say 9.5 out of 10 or something. I was like, holy shit, dude.
It wasn't that good. Like I said, it was a good match. I would give it like 3.5 stars. Not like a 9. Like a 7 might be more accurate. I thought it was good. I thought they worked well together. And again, I really think Billington has a lot of upside. He's not there yet. And obviously, like, you know, he doesn't really have a lot of character or charisma to him. He's just a straight-laced worker. He's like Atlantis Jr. in Ring of Honor. But I thought they had some good heat with each other. Shibata obviously brought it. And I'm into it. We saw Shibata do double duty this week. He was on Dynamite, and then he's on Ring of Honor. No reason, but why not?
I mean, okay, look, Shibata seems to have like this weird sort of connection to like these generational wrestlers as well.
Yeah.
I will admit that. So it does make sense in that regard.
Storyline, it doesn't. Like, I'm not defending them putting this match together. I just think they worked good. But could they have done something better? Yes. Like, I totally agree.
This would have been a much better opener too. It just is a symbol of Ring of Honor. It's like new young upstart talent. Shibata's definitely a dude who would have come over in like the mid 2000s if he could have, if he would have. Man, also I just got Nakajima versus Danielson from Glory by Honor 2008. Very excited to watch that.
Oh, very man, excited. Nakajima there was like killing it. It was him. Remember that was Nakajima Kenta series like the year after that?
I've seen that one. The Kensuke Office one is fucking incredible. It's like 42 minutes or something.
Yeah, they had multiple matches that year that were great.
Oh my god, so good. I got the Shingo Kensuke Office one I got to watch as well.
Good stuff.
Anyway, Ring of Honor Final Battle.
That was kind of like, and that's because that's like late stage Brian in Ring of Honor too. By that point, like he was on the way out by the end of 08, like 09.
But anyway, I digress. You know, I was too hard on this. This was a good match. I would have liked to have seen this open.
Yeah, again, I agree with your criticism of the booking of it, for sure. And again, we have to have the caveat that we don't really know what's going on in the shows. You know, I always have to remind myself of that when I watch the show, because there's a lot of stuff I was like, ugh. But we also have to keep that in mind too. Again, maybe if they get a TV deal, they'll be able to work out some of these kinks, which I mean, they've had years to do it and they haven't done it, but still, I thought this was a good match on a show that really needed it. There wasn't a lot of that on this show. Let me tell you. So after that, Shibata won in the end with the chokehold. They ended up doing this like building up a theme. So they did show us kind of what's been going on. So Jay Lethal and QT Marshall have been feuding, which is everything that you need to know about what's going on in ROH right now. And then he comes out with, what was this with QT? When did he join the NWO? Is what I want to know.
I felt like this because I was really confused, and then once Jay Lethal came out as Black Machismo, I was like, okay, this just has to be like a one night thing for the match, right?
Yeah, surely.
Okay.
Surely, like, please, like, don't.
I mean, to be honest, I'm not going to watch more
It
to
doesn't
see if
matter.
it's true. Yeah. I'm not going to invest more time to figure this caper out, but
I mean, it's Jay Lethal. He's not like it's not like we're rushing to the stadium. Like we're like no one's going crazy over it.
Here's the thing: Jay Lethal is probably out of everyone on this card, besides Nigel, or I'd say along with Nigel, most Ring of Honor guys in the third match in a comedy match against QT Marshall. Like what the fuck? And again, like if this was like I don't know, like Giddy Up fucking fairgrounds in Dallas, sure, but like this is at Hammerstein, bro. Like, god damn, give me something meaningful, anything.
Oh, well, you weren't getting that in this match. It all led to a schmoz. The crowd.
We got Jeff Jarrett.
Yeah, exactly.
At least that was, I think it was Rick Bonnie or someone had to call. They're like, "Oh my God, Jeff Jarrett has showed up at Ring of Honor," and I was like, "Wow, this actually is special. If this is the first time he's ever shown up there." I love being part of Jeff Jarrett history.
As we all do, Hendersonville's Tennessee's finest, Jeff Jarrett, coming in here. Yeah, he came out. He hit the guitar at Aaron solo to lead to the win. Lethal actually hit 2 lethal ejections to win here instead of the elbow drop. He did hit it earlier in the match, but they kicked out. We have to protect QT. This really could have been done in half the time, to be honest. Like they, it is what it is. Still don't know why QT's in the NWO. Like, what is this gimmick? Didn't he get fired like not that long ago, and he's still doing this stuff?
No, so he was one of those guys where he was like, I'm going to take a chance on myself, leave the company, see what I can do. Nothing really happened. He took his job back with the company, as far as I understand.
You summarized that really well, like overall. But
no, because I had the same thought last night, so I was looking it up.
Yeah. But yeah, so I mean, listen, he'll always have that Big Boom AJ match in his belt. That was better than this.
Misawa can't say that.
Of course. Like Misawa cannot say they fought Big Boom AJ. Like, come on now. We have to respect Big Justice and the Rizzler right now.
Dude, who was the guy? Okay, Big Boom AJ versus Big Daddy Yum Yum.
Oh, no.
Do you remember that fucking guy, dude?
I remember him well.
Okay, listeners, if you have never seen Big Daddy Yum Yum get chopped in the corner before, please God, look up this video. He's the legend. Shouts out late 2000s New Japan.
Mid 2010s.
Mid 2010s too?
Yeah, it was mid 2010s. Early 2010s, really. It was like 2013, 14. He showed up. It was during the Bruce Tharp NWA invasion of New Japan. Okay. Also known as Big Daddy in CMLL. Former anniversarial main eventer in the cage match.
Now, when we do the episode description on social media, we can say we talk about Final Battle, the C2, the Yakuza game series, and Big Daddy Yum Yum.
Isn't that all you want out of a show, Nello?
Yeah, we've got our headline, so good to go.
Yeah, so goofy match, waste of time, to be honest. If we're being really honest.
This was a long show, and I agree. Like, you could have done this match still, and I think if it was done in half the amount of time, it would have been a lot less offensive. But it was like once you get to 5 hours on a pay-per-view, you look back at the amount of time they invested in a shit, and it just becomes so grating.
Well, good for him. He got to be Black Machismo again. Jeff Jarrett got to be in Ring of Honor. Whatever. So they were setting up the TV women's TV title match. It's Red Velvet and Layla Hirsch. Red Velvet had like a special entrance where they like sang her out to the ring. Like we had a live performance on the show.
Performance was good. They were on beat.
It was. Yeah. A show highlight up to this point was her entrance. Some would say. They do some stuff. They show Hirsch kind of like being the dominant person in this match. She was overpowering her, doing some gator rolls, things like that. And there, Velvet did some comebacks and stuff. Hirsch, there was a spot where she her elbow was hurt. They sold that a bit. They go back and forth with strikes and suplexes and stuff like that. They do a big spot where they're like both down. He starts to do the count out gimmick. But they of course come in there. Hirsch breaks out a lion salt at one point, which was interesting. Going after the arms, they look at it. Layla was coming in for something, and Red Velvet was like going after something under the ring. She pulled out a turnbuckle pad, but then she had a wrench and knocked Hirsch out with the wrench to get the win. I didn't know she was heel, to be honest, before this match. Sorry, guys. What did you think?
Not much special, and that was a bummer because I thought Layla especially had a banger of a match on the last pay-per-view against Diamante.
That's my girl. I love Diamante.
And I thought Red Velvet had a good match against Billy for the TV title as well. And
that's true.
Yeah, I thought that this just didn't stand out in any real way. Got less time than Jay Lethal and QT. So
yeah. I mean, it was all right, but definitely not special. It's definitely not as good as that Diamante and Layla Hirsch match.
No.
No. But it's fine. Like on most shows, this would be a fine mid-card match, but this is another one where, considering what they did with the show and wasted all of this time, a lot of these matches you could have cut multiple ones off of the show and you wouldn't have lost anything, really. Lee Moriarty's talking about the rules of the pure title. He's challenging anybody, and to prove it, he's got the judges here. We have Christopher Daniels, Rocky Romero, and Jerry Lynn. I mean, all of the pure champions lineage that you would look at with these three. But anyway, Shane Taylor's there to back him up. They're hyping him up, and he's like, all right, come on out. And who's his opponent? Nigel McGuinness. This was cool. I mean, he's kind of like one of the OG pure champions. I mean, he was a total heel as champion. Remember the iron that he used to interfere in his matches? As pure champion, the most pure wrestler with the iron to use. Literally to iron your clothes with. It was very funny. But he's in there, and he said, let's go. And he's like, all right, New York City.
Dude, Nigel was in such top form. This was, I think this whole segment was probably my favorite part of the show.
I totally agree with that. He says, you do it. You do it.
Okay, I wanted to do the Nigel quotes.
Yes.
So Shane Taylor's talking shit to Nigel. Nigel grabs the mic and in the most calm way possible says, just because you've got hair around your mouth doesn't mean you need to talk like a pussy. The whole crowd starts chanting pussy, and then Shane Taylor tries to make a cool guy comeback where he's like, I guess I am what I eat. And Nigel goes, well, if you are what you eat, then you must be Lee Moriarty's asshole. And just, dude, killed me.
Nigel, the legend.
Nigel, the legend, dude. And the thing that made me happiest was picturing Daniel Bryan watching this at home. Dude, he must have loved this because this felt so Bryan Danielson coded as well. They're just shit stirring bullies, dude, and I fucking love it. They're so funny. Sorry. So that was the intro there. Oh, and then Nigel says it's gonna be old school pure rules.
Yeah, he wanted the old school style there. So he says no judges. They said. We go for the I wanted. Do you think that Shane Taylor rang the bell? Because remember he told him that he's like, go ring the bell. At the end.
Do you think he actually did it? I have no clue.
I hope so. I hope he did. They start off with "fuck him up, Nigel," "fuck him up" chants on there. So we go in. They measure the rope breaks again. They're going the old school rules here. So they use the rope breaks early on. Lee Moriarty uses his right away, his first couple.
Nigel exhausts 2 in 3 minutes, and he was grinning like a bastard.
That was awesome. They go in. Nigel locks in the London dungeon. Then they have Moriarty struggling, do I use this last rope break? And then he says, no, I'm changing my mind. And he tries to turn it into the Border City stretch, and that cost Nigel a rope break. They come in. Again, they fight until he gets the Border City stretch. They do a similar spot where he lost in the London Dungeon, and Moriarty changes it to the Border City stretch, and that costs Nigel the rope break. And then he does it again right away to knock out the last rope break from Nigel. So I thought that was pretty good storytelling. The old school guy knocks him out early on, takes away too early, and then the youngster counters back and like climbs back into it. I thought that was like good psychology. So then both men are out with the rope break because it looked like they do a dusty finish kind of where he hits the Tower of London. The ref counts to 3, but then the other ref is like, no, his foot's on the rope. So like that's the last rope break there. They come in there, they're trading strikes. Moriarty locks into the London Dungeon, which like was kind of a big moment. He does the rebound lariat to get a near fall, but got kicked out. They fight for the Border City stretch again, and then he like does this really cool transition, like twisting him up like for leverage, and Nigel ends up tapping out. This match ruled. It's easy to say it was great just because it's Nigel coming back, and that's awesome. But actually, the work they did was super smart, super crisp. Everything they did was great. This was unquestionably, in my opinion, the best match on the show. Even though, it wasn't anything wrong with the length, 17 minutes. It still could have, they could have cut 2 or 3 of the other matches and given more time to this, and I would have been happy. I thought it was an absolutely awesome match. Well deserving of the 8.40 rating it got.
Very well said. Totally agree. I think that anytime I see Nigel wrestle, it's like a gift. It feels like when Adam Copeland is back, right? It's just like, or when Bryan Daniels, anytime a wrestler comes back that you used to love, it just feels special, and it makes me appreciate life and healing and the passage of time. And I could get even wax more philosophically, but it's a very special thing to see him back in the ring, and I'm grateful to be here for it.
Moriarty deserves credit as well.
Oh, dude, he's an awesome pure champion. Yeah. As much as I wanted Nigel to win, Moriarty's resume is getting pretty goddamn impressive. If I'm not mistaken, he's beaten Yuta, he's beaten Shibata, he's beaten McGuinness now. So let me click on this bad boy here. ROH Pure Title. Let's see this matches. Yeah, Wheeler Yuta and Helico, Preston Vance, Matt Taven, Nigel McGuinness. Okay, so not as impressive in the middle as I thought.
But it's not his fault though. He's great. Tiger Style rules. He's a guy that deserves a lot of props. He's another guy I think that, they've kept him out of the spotlight on AEW enough to where I think you can kind of brand him as a Ring of Honor guy and get away with it. Like Garcia and Yuta, they were AEW guys holding the pure titles. You could actually. I think
that if you had, sorry.
No, go on.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, please.
No, I was just gonna say that he, you could brand him as a Ring of Honor guy, and I think you need that in this era of Ring of Honor.
Totally agree. I think that, you need your young talent to head divisions. And if you are going to keep a Starks, why not make him your main event guy? Lee Moriarty is the definition of what you want in terms of a face for your pure title division. I remember when he first showed up on the Indianapolis GCW shows when they first came back during COVID. And I was like, holy shit, it was him, Nathan Frazier, and, oh my God. I believe Calvin Tankman or whatever. And they were like the 3 new guys.
Oh, he's great.
Yep. And, it's been a privilege watching him grow since. Dude, he's so fucking good. And I like that he's finally in a position where he's not just losing submissions on TV all the time, because I remember when he was being featured during kind of like that Garcia push and stuff, he would just tap out every match. And I'm like, I feel like you're doing him a disservice by having him lose like this. But yeah, Ring of Honor, AEW has the people they need to create a Ring of Honor division, it just feels like they're investing all of the wrong talent into it in the major positions.
Tankman should be in Ring of Honor. Like, why hasn't he been signed?
MLW, pretty sure.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure he's an MLW guy.
Do something to get him away from MLW. Do you really want to be messing around with Eric Bischoff like for all the time, like at MLW and Dario Cueto and these people? Is that what you want with your life? Get to AEW and push this man in Ring of Honor. And the thing is with Starks, I think I've solved it. I thought about it, and I realized why they haven't done what we wanted with Ricky Starks. They want to wait until they're fully ready to pull the trigger on Billy so they can have Starks and Starks as the leaders of the company. But because they're not ready yet, Ricky's also out. Just my opinion.
It's just weird.
So Moriarty, Nigel, awesome match. Loved it. That kind of made watching this show worth it, to be honest. And like I said, Nigel could be the champion. Is the funny thing about it. Like, if they did that, I would be totally into that. You know, I would have no arguments, even though he's the veteran and all that stuff. The crowd chants, "Thank you, Nigel." Nigel walks up to the Ring of Honor flag and all of that. And they set up the tag team title matches here. A double bull rope match between the Righteous, Dutch and Vincent, taking on the Sons of Texas, Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara.
God, the least ROH shit ever to ever exist is the Sons of Texas. Ring of Honor, like, at its core is about cool wrestlers, right? It's about cool fucking wrestlers on the outskirts doing amazing wrestling. Dustin Rhodes and Sammy Guevara are the furthest thing from that. Like, goddamn, I hated this. Dylan, this is exactly the kind of like, when this match started and they walked out, I'm sorry, I'm a Dustin Rhodes, Sons of Texas, Sammy Guevara hater, generational hater. This was
wow, generational level hater.
Generational. If they have no haters left, it means I'm gone. Type of shit. You know what I'm saying?
What about the face paint that Sammy did with the Texas, like, Goldust half face paint? That win you over?
Lame. No.
I think like the best usage of Sammy would have been in the 6-way match. Like, that is his calling. Like, multi-man match where he could do crazy stuff. What are you gaining by teaming with Dustin Rhodes? Like what do you gain from this?
The whole thing of, like, him being paired with Dustin Rhodes just feels like they're trying to get people to like him. They're like, hey, look, that's like, really Dustin hard. We all like Dustin, right? Like, he's a good guy. Like, oh, look, Sammy's with him now. Look, he's not a heel anymore. He's just a good guy. He's a dad. He's a dad now. And I'm like, it all feels so fake. And, like, I don't know. It's just really bad. I don't think, like, Sammy completely agree of him being in survival of the fittest, but, like, Dustin Rhodes in Ring of Honor is not, like, that is so antithetical, it feels like, to Ring of Honor, and, like, this should be the young people brand.
This is giving me HD Net vibes of Ring of Honor. Yeah. Like, Cornette loves this, but nobody else does. Is the problem.
Matt Hardy TV champion Ring of Honor vibes. You know what I'm saying?
I'm talking about headbangers as a security in Ring of Honor level. Like, you know, like, come on now. Like enough of this. I think,
like, Dustin is better on Dynamite. I'll say that. Like, I think he's better on AEW than he is in Ring of Honor. It just doesn't work for me. I'll leave it at that. Sorry.
I respect Dustin's game in the ring. I'm not going to criticize him as a worker at all.
No.
It's just a weird fit. And another thing, champion is another thing I like.
He's a double champion, right? Isn't he the 6th man as well?
Is he?
If I'm not mistaken, he was with the Von Erichs.
Oh no, you're right. Like,
yeah, he's in Ring of Honor.
What?
In 2025.
That tells you everything wrong with this whole thing that they're doing right now. Sammy, I don't hate Sammy as a performer. Like, I think he's a guy that takes a lot of crazy risk and bumps and does flying. I mean, he's not like my favorite or anything, But I think you could glean something out of him in the role I said as spot monkey guy, like pretty much like high flying guy. His best run in AEW to me was when he was doing the card gimmick in the picture in picture segments where he's putting out the little signs. Like that was cool. Like it got over. They turned him like 5,000 times to where nobody knows what the hell to make of his character.
And always at the cost, like it was always like because of Jericho and at the cost of Sammy.
Yeah,
always like fuck.
The funny thing is, like when they did the reality show, he was like one of the most likable people on there. Like on this show they gave him, he was like one of the most down to earth guys like that they showed on there. But like he's just such a dick for so many reasons, like that we've seen in public, that it's hard to really get behind him like that. Again, he's another one where I'd be like, look, man, like kind of same thing I said about Jungle Boy before. Like just have him brag about how he's got a hot wife, like he's better than all the fans, he's the guy, blah blah blah. Just have him do crazy matches. Don't think too much about it. Don't try to tell nuanced stories with him. Just let him do crazy stuff. Remember when he was against Cody, jumping off the ladder and all that? That kind of got over too. Like again, like that's how you use this man, not teaming with Dustin Rhodes. I don't think too much with him. Just make it simple, and he could be good at it. If you do more, I don't think he's really at that level. And the Righteous to me have absolutely nothing to them.
I really wish that AEW never did that 4 pillars thing because they just look so fucking silly for it.
Oh yeah. All of them failed except for Darby. Like he's the only one that's good of the pillars.
Yep.
I mean, they're going to force MJF down our throats, but we see what he's doing with Cole. Nobody wants to see that anymore. In the end, Sammy did do a crazy move when he flew off the top with the senton. Vincent moved out of the way. That was kind of like his Darby tribute moment there. In the end, they do the cowbell stuff. I like how this all built up to Dustin getting the cowbell. He pointed to Dusty in the sky. And just like Dusty would have wanted, he hit him with a cowbell to win this mid-card tag match in Ring of Honor. The brand Dusty was synonymous with, I would say. They should move him to TNA. I think bring back Black Rain.
Oh, dude, you just got blocked on Twitter.
By Black Rain?
Yeah, by Black Rain.
Where's the rat? That was a really bad era of everything. The thing is, I like Dustin as a wrestler. It's just not in this role. Definitely not as double champion in Ring of Honor. That's just so really silly. So they cut it. They start with another promo talking about the Max debut. Not MJF, but HBO Max. They're going to have Asheville, North Carolina, Fight for the Fallen. Who's FTR going to bring with them?
Okay. I meant to text you about this.
Yeah.
But I had the funniest fucking thing happen the other day that I thought you would appreciate. So it was the promo where FTR hypes for the Fight for the Fallen for the first time. And Cash is like, this is the show we are the most passionate about. And I was like, oh, because he did that gun thing. And, and because every Fight for the Fallen has been for like victims of gun violence and shit. And I was like, that's really fucking cool that he's admitting that on TV. And then they were like, it's for the victims of the hurricane in Asheville. And dude, I just started dying fucking laughing. I was like, of course it's the year that's not about guns. Of course, dude. Like, I thought it was like an accountability moment, and then immediately I was just like, holy shit, dude, that is so funny. Anyway.
Didn't he do an interview where he was like, it wasn't like, that never happened, or something like that? Like I vaguely remember him saying like he was really stressed out because he was going through turmoil and stuff. And he was like, it wasn't like they said it was, or something like that. I mean, I don't want to quote it right now. And I don't care enough to look up the truth, unfortunately. But they end up coming out, cutting that promo, blah, blah, blah. They replay the video from Dynamite with Harley Cameron, which is very funny. Her 12 Days of AEW song, which, by the way, thanks to your influence, Nello, I purchased an AEW shirt for Christmas. The Be Violent Blackpool Combat Club shirt, the far superior version of this stable than the Death Riders. It's very nice. It's like a cartoon violent like teddy bear shirt. Very good. I liked it very much. It was his decision. I left it up to him which one I would get. And I'm happy with your choice. I thought I was leaning towards it myself, but I needed your approval before I got it. So, TV title match, Survival of the Fittest. Brian Cage defending his title versus AR Fox, Willie Mack, Commander, Blake Christian, Mark Davis. When will I be able to escape Blake Christian?
Dude, he's definitely. I feel like him and potentially I'm not connected, but I think Ninja Mac could be going Ring of Honor as well.
Ninja Mac's awesome. I love that dude. That's my guy. Yeah.
But I was thinking in terms of the GCW kind of guys that could be going Ring of Honor, I think Blake Christian would be a dude on here, unfortunately. And you know what the worst part is, Dylan? They definitely put him in a featured role here. He was not first eliminated like a ROH throwaway like a Dalton Castle was last year.
Was this punishment for Willie Mack for trying to go on GCW? They pulled him, so like, you're going out first.
Dude, this was a good wrestling match that was just like weird fucking booking.
Yeah.
In terms of like the order of stuff and like who was positioned where, and Brian Cage having like the shortest title reign.
And he was eliminated halfway through the match.
Yep. Yeah. Which is like, it's always exciting when they're like, oh, there's gonna be a new champion. It's like, okay, cool. But then I like look at the people and I'm like, dear God, I hope it's Commander. And thankfully, which is, there's something very funny about AEW style booking where they know that Commander is going to win the ROH TV title the same night that he loses to Brody King on a show that will probably get more viewers than this one. Yeah. Like, why not have him beat Brody if Brody is not going to win the block or be a serious contender at that point? Like, Brody could probably take the loss, and like you at least have this guy get 2 major wins on one night and have him seem more credible going forward. So I thought that was kind of boneheaded or short-sighted. But what did you think of the match?
It was good. Like I liked the match. The second best on the show, I would say, besides the pure title match. Commander, when he's great, he deserves it. I mean, he works hard. He's been like the utility player for so long. It's nice to see him get something. I actually thought you could have told an interesting story if Davis had actually won the title. Because that could have been like, hey, I beat Fletcher. Like, I took your old title. Like, that could have led to a future match. But it's clear they probably don't see that much in Davis in the first place. I would say. His elimination was, like, goofy on top of it. Like, Davis got the big spot eliminating Cage, and then literally, like, 10 seconds later, Christian ran up to hit him with a low blow and then eliminate him right away. Like a sneak roll up. Lots of action, cool stuff early on. You had the big guys doing stuff. Cage and Willie Mack. AR Fox showed up. He got eliminated fairly early on, but they gave it time. Everybody got big moments. I could have done without Christian being the last guy at the other end.
Yeah. I mean, they definitely knew who the most hated guy was.
I think, that was the one good thing about it, is that it kind of made Commander's win mean that much more.
And dude, like his whole thing, he did nothing different here than what he did as GCW champion for a year, which is he just like sticks his tongue out and does the suck it sign.
He's the worst. But I was happy Commander won. I would say this is like 3 3/4, 4-star level.
Yeah, I'd probably go 3.5.
Yeah, 3 3/4 for me, 3.5 for you. That's about where we're at, 3.5 to 4-star range. The celebration was cool because they put all the streamers on him and stuff. The fans were super into it. They were like, "You deserve it." He does. I do agree with that. And then suddenly we cut to a video of Sho and Yoshinobu Kanemaru, and they're saying, we're coming for the ROH tag titles. Huh? So why? Why would you do this? I don't know. What do you think of these two versus the Sons of Texas?
Sorry, you cut out. Who is it again?
Yoshinobu Kanemaru and
Oh, yeah. I'm going to cleanse you with Japanese whiskey in Japan. That was like the funniest line from Kanemaru. I don't know why the fuck these guys are getting a Wrestle Dynasty spot. Not Kanemaru and Sho, the Sons of Texas. It's so stupid to me. Like, I don't know why this has to be a match on that show.
That show is so lame. Like, if you look at, like, they've got Omega coming back, and that's it. Which they did actually hype on Dynamite for the first time, by the way. And it was literally like Omega's coming back at the Tokyo Dome, and we do hope he returns to AEW someday as well. And it's like, oh, okay. Like, what the fuck? And like, Omega's in such a weird state right now. Just like that promo when he came back to New Japan, where he's like, the best wrestling happens in New Japan. After they had just come out with like AEW, where the best wrestle. He's like, nah, the best wrestling's in New Japan. It's not in AEW. Very funny. Yeah, okay, fine. Like, House of Torture versus Sons. Whatever. like, I have no, like, I can't get mad. I'm sure the match will be not great.
Give me Sho and Kanemaru as tag team champions.
Excuse me. What is the upside in this match? I wonder. Even if Kanemaru and Sho wins, like, what are they gonna do with them in Ring of Honor?
The greatest goddamn excursion of all time. That's what.
Oh, it was so much. I mean, remember Sho's first excursion with the Tempura kids?
Oh my god, I forgot about that.
We all wanted to forget about it, but I made you remember. No.
Thank you for bringing it back.
Evil, another, stalwart of Ring of Honor as Watanabe. Right. We could get a Ring of Honor reunion here. That's it. That's who it should have been. It should have been Evil and Sho instead of Kanemaru and Sho. They go over the tag belts. They should come back as their Ring of Honor characters as well. Watanabe and Sho Tanaka. He might have still been one of the demons or whatever they put him in CMLL. But anyway, we'll see what happens. We build up. We go through all of Jericho's New York stuff that he's been doing. And they're like, Matt Cardona, he's always ready. I heard like always ready like 20 times like during all of this. So he comes in. They show Cardona coming in from like outside the building. Like they do this long walk up. He walks into Hammerstein from the street or whatever. And then Jericho comes in with they had all of these like people dancing, and he had like the Statue of Liberty crown. Shades of Nakamura at Wrestle Kingdom. Suddenly the match starts, and then we get a please retire chance, which kind of gave you a shot of where this was going. We immediately Cardona hits the Rough Rider, radio silence, coming in there. They go back and forth. They show Cardona's dad in the crowd, and he like slaps Jericho. Cardona gets the title belt, attacks Jericho with the belt. And the ref is just like, oh, sure, fine, whatever. So then he tries to, but then suddenly he's like, oh, wait, I'm a referee. I got to stop this. He tries to grab the belt. They go in there. They do a 20 count on the outside. They go into the corner, and Jericho's like wasting time, kind of like stalling stuff here. Then Brian Keith attacks Cardona on the outside. Jericho slaps Cardona's dad, and that leads to Cardona's comeback. Jericho runs to the crowd to like flex a little bit, like literally pose in the crowd. They get back to the ring. Cardona hits a Tiger Driver. Then he like does he spins around, hits the ropes, code breaker. Big Bill runs in, knocks out Cardona. In the end, he covers up the ref, so Brian Keith runs in, hits him with the belt, and Jericho wins. They chanted "Please retire" at the end of the match, and I don't know if this match really changed anybody's minds. I would say maybe they were also chanting it at Cardona as well. That was the question. Who did they want to retire more? Because this got a 2.61 rating on Cage Match. The fans hated this match. What did you think?
Just saying that this is a clear sign that the fans don't know anything. I think there's a lot we can learn from this match. No, I'm kidding. This was not great, and I feel like it wasn't really the result of Cardona. I thought Cardona played the babyface role very well.
Yeah.
It's funny watching him in a babyface role because I've pretty much watched his entire independence run up until now, and he's always played the bastard heel. So it's funny to see him like change roles overnight, and I thought he did well, all things considered. This really suffered from super uninspired booking, a very poor match layout. And like those are things that I don't think Cardona is necessarily in charge of. Those are things that I feel like Chris Jericho is absolutely deciding. And man, he did not look good. I thought that it was a very slow match. This did not feel like a Ring of Honor World Title match. Excuse me. I think that Cardona does have a spot in a Ring of Honor, like an Ethan Page type heel. He's not going to show up in the ring that much or as much as other people, but like he's someone that you can have a very good feud and promo battle with. And some of those other guys need that stuff as well. That said, like, man, this Jericho thing, like, it's like whenever they won a Ring of Honor TV deal, it feels like they put the title on him, and it's just painful. It really is painful. Like once Big Bill ran out, I just pretty much checked out on the match. I was like, okay, this is what we're doing. The referee shit was really stupid. Allowing like the belt slaps, but then like a belt shot is what takes out Zack Ryder, and we had to hide that. Like nothing felt right. The whole rhythm was off. And I think like this was something that was kind of symptomatic for me on like a large portion of the show, is like a lot of the things just felt like one step off for a lot of it. And this was probably the biggest culprit.
Yeah. I think that they should have he should have just hit the Rough Rider right away and won it in like 10 seconds. Like, I think that would have been the perfect way to end this title reign. Like the douche heel gets his comeuppance. By the way, this whole match he was wrestling in his I Love New York t-shirt. Jericho was. That kind of shows you where he's at right now. It's just, because I feel like everyone hates him a lot. And he's
making a mockery of the title. Like, it's shitty.
Even without the title. Like, even when he's just in AEW, everyone hates him. And like this, I mean, let's face it. The match in CMLL against Mystico was worse than this one. Like, that was one of the worst matches of the whole year. But I think he tries. Like, the effort is there. It's just he can't accept where he's at in his career. Like, he can't accept that he's at his stage anymore, and that he's not. Like, they can't accept that it's not 05 anymore. And it's like, you just can't do this stuff, man. Like, you don't have it in you to be this guy anymore. And hopefully some sense can be talked. I think he would really benefit. All involved would benefit from a large break from Jericho, on TV and Ring of Honor or whatever. I thought the New York stuff was fine. Like, like leading up to it, you got some Ring of Honor mentions on TV. I had no issue with that at all. They kept it really short. They didn't go overboard with it like he often does. It was just, hey, we get a minute or two. Let's talk about New York. Let's talk about how great I am. Let's talk about Ring of Honor. Fine. Perfect heel buildup. Cardona was fine. I like the stuff they did with the dad. I thought that was like easy heat, kind of. And he played into it well enough. Like you said, the match layout was kind of bad. At this point, I was just like, man, this show is really coming off the rails, though. I wouldn't say it was like that terrible, but it was not good at all either. Like this would be like a 1.5, 2-star match to me. But yeah, and the thing is, the worst part is kind of what you said. There's just no upside in this booking. Ultimately, like, it doesn't help anybody, including Jericho. It's painful to watch. So we get a post-match beatdown, but who saves him but Bandito? He comes in, runs at Big Bill, gives himself a concussion, and then walks away. Yikes.
Yeah, that I was very surprised that after all of the on AEW television promos for Bandito, like they really expected people to like they invested everything Bandito wise into people watching this show. Because if you didn't watch this Ring of Honor show and you've watched AEW, you're going to be like, where the fuck is Bandito? Assuming he's an ROH guy now.
Those vignettes were awesome.
They were.
They were great. They should have just. I think that if they were going to do this, they should have just hyped him up and been like, "Hey, first appearance for Bandito back. He's going to be at Ring of Honor Final Battle. If you're going to use him here anyway, because I think you could have gotten some mileage out of that. He'd be a fine guy. He has a Ring of Honor history as well. I wouldn't mind if he was like a main event Ring of Honor guy, the guy to beat Jericho. The problem is on the main roster we want these guys on there, but there's not enough room for every single great guy. Even Takeshita can't get on TV right now. So like, what are you gonna do? Like, like if you're one of these other guys. In the end, I hope he's okay. That's the only thing, because it looked like he might have had an injury, and that would be really sad because he's been out injured for so long. And I hope he can just be back to normal and we can get to wherever they're gonna go. And if he is the Ring of Honor champion, maybe he can win at WrestleMania weekend. I hope that he can do some good things for the company.
Yep. Agreed.
So best wishes to Bandito. And it all led to the main event. Billy Starks versus Athena, back-to-back Final Battle main events here. And last year was such a disappointing match, I would say. The angle afterwards was even worse, actually, in my opinion. I remember us talking about it, and basically they did the match. Athena won, and Billy Stark was like, "Yeah, like I really miss being your slave. So can I do it again?" And Athena was like, "Yes, like I wanted you back all along." And she's like, "I'm your minion, yes." And I was like, and I think we all were collectively like, "What the hell?" Like, no. Like the whole point of the storyline was that she was getting abused and she was fighting her way out and she was going to be her own champion. No, like, no, this is all wrong. But instead they did what they did and it sucked. So now we build up to this match and they come in. Lexi Nair is a part of their faction as well. She handles the intros for Athena. And Billy comes out with like Sumi Sakai style gear. Sumi's about to retire as well. They're building up the match with Hiromu Mayu Iwatani and Yuka Sakazaki as opponents for Sumi. And we'll see who they get for her team as well for her retirement road. Athena comes out as the Batman villain Two-Face, who was a part of one of my favorite movies of all time, Batman Forever, of course. So I have a large connection to Two-Face, and I was like, well, this rules. I got automatically. They start off with they do the handshake, but Starks won't let it go because there's too much heat between them. They come in and Starks dodges some of her big moves. Turns into some chops. Athena hits her big handstand into the elbow. The crowd rallies behind Starks. They chant, "Fight, Billy, fight." They go on there. Looks for a stretch muffler on Billy. She's really dominating a lot of the match here. And Billy goes up to her mom, and Athena drags her over. And she's like, "Look at your baby girl now," to her mom. So here's the problem with this. We literally just did this exact same angle one match ago with, Matt Cardona. So that really was kind of like, this would have been better if they hadn't done what they did in the other match. But it was fine. Billy ends up hitting a complete shot onto the ring steps. Looks good. Billy rolls her back into the ring, hits Smash Mouth for a near fall. They come in. They hit a really awkward looking inverted shining wizard almost. Billy did. It didn't look good. Athena goes to the top rope, hits a fall away slam from the middle ropes. The fans start to rally behind Athena a little bit more, which I don't know if that fits this whole deal, but whatever. They go with it. Athena looks for the O-face, turns it into a big suplex. But in the end, they turn it into a tombstone. Billy ends up hitting an Alabama slam on the apron, then a swanton bomb to the floor as well. Going for everything, still a 2.9 count. Lexi Nair runs in, ends up giving Athena the microphone, but Billy blocks it. Another referee comes in. There's a poison Rana. In the end, Athena goes up top, hits the O-face for the win. What did you think of the match?
Okay, so pretty different. I liked last year's match a lot. I didn't like the finish, but
yeah, that's true. The match was solid. The
I
finish
gave last year's match like 4.25. I thought it was a phenomenal match with a really deflating finish.
Yeah, that's fair. I apologize. You were correct on that.
No, all good. I thought this was a bad match with an even worse finish.
An even worse finish than last year.
This was like, why make us wait an entire other year for the same match, build it all up, and then not give it to, like, what is the investment at this point to keep Athena on ROH and keep her? It's like they're allergic to putting her on AEW for some reason, and I don't fucking know why. If they're like waiting for her to just come up and be women's world champion right away, like, I don't know what it is, but like, who is left? She beat Queen Aminata. She beat Billy twice. Like, there's really no one else on the roster. You just beat Layla Hirsch. No one else is really above a Layla Hirsch right now. You have Red Velvet, who's already a champion. Like, this is not this is a good division, not a deep division, and not a division with other people booked on a level that can be a challenger for someone that's like a champion for over 2 years now or some shit. Like, you just had the person you built up for the year lose. I really don't get it. And it's the biggest thing to me is I don't want to see the match again.
Yeah. Yeah, like, I agree.
They could run it back Mania weekend and get Billy the title then, but it's too late at that point. This was the match to do it. Like, I thought Athena looked great here. Like, her power moves looked good and stuff. Like, she looked very strong, but every movement they did, like, they just felt a beat behind each other. The chemistry felt off.
Yeah.
It just felt really sloppy at times. I was just very shocked because this was the match I was looking forward to the most going in. I was expecting an even better showing than last year, and it was to be at the end of a 5-hour pay-per-view and then to have that deflating finish. It really felt like I had wasted my time last night, and that was kind of how I'd feel about the pay-per-view overall. Like, Nigel and Lee, cool, but other than that, I had a blast talking about it, of course, but I feel like I wasted my night watching 5 hours of this.
Yeah, I was happy to see the Nigel match. The survival of the fittest was pretty good. Last year's match was good. Like you said, the finish drug it down more than anything. I like this year's finish better than last year's because at least you didn't have Billy join her again like last year. I thought that was the most what the fuck moment of everything. Like last year, I thought that really hurt Billy's character actually and her entire story. It was objectively bad narrative storytelling. Like, honestly, the thing is, imagine if Cody had lost to Roman this year at WrestleMania. Like, because it's kind of a similar deal where everybody thought she would win last year, but then she didn't. And the explanation was that she would win it this year. And then she didn't again. How many times are we going to do this? You know?
And it's not like, like the other situation this makes me think of is Okada beating Omega at Wrestle Kingdom and then beating Naito at the next one, right?
Yeah.
But there's no Omega in Ring of Honor that's going to face this fucking Athena at Dominion, right?
Yeah.
Like I said, they just have no one else lined up. And they just, I don't know, like, does Billy come up to AEW now? Like, could that be what it is? I really fail to see. I mean, Athena's so ready for AEW TV as well, and that's what's frustrating about this. Is I think she's grown past this role, and
it's so
she's
unfair.
So ready for TV.
It's so unfair that they haven't given her any TV time at all. Like,
Outside
why?
of like that one, she was in like the Owen tournament, right? And lost like the first or second round.
Yeah, I thankfully have pushed that out of my mind, but you're probably right.
Um, yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
Wow.
Wow. I said wow. I'm seeing some 0 hour shows. Yeah, she was on Rampage. She did get a couple of Owen tournament matches. Lost to Willow in the semifinals.
Yep.
Okay, well that's something at least. But yeah, totally agree with you. It's beyond time for her to drop this title for the company's sake and her sake, more importantly. You just have to wonder, like, why? There's so many questions about why these things are happening with her title reign. It doesn't make any sense to me. Billy coming up would be fine. I mean, I think Athena is a lot better than Billy Starks, to be honest, as a wrestler. Like, if it were up to me and you were like, oh, who's coming up? Like, I'd be like, oh, it's obviously Athena. And
Yeah,
Billy's good. It's nothing against her, but Athena's like great, you know.
I say it just as an assumption because I don't see why you would have Billy lose and then keep her in Ring of Honor. And again, unless it's to have her win Mania weekend or something, but it's like, why wait?
Yeah,
it's not the same anymore.
There's no interest to me in watching this for a third time. Like, to me, they pushed it. I wasn't really that into this time. Like, going in, and I fully admit that. Last year, I was into it, and I was so let down. I thought the finish and the post-match was so bad. This, I wasn't even into it at the start. So, maybe that's me. I mean, it's got a 6.89 rating. I wouldn't say it was bad, but I definitely don't think it was it was great. To say the least. I would say like a 3-star match. And for a main event, that's kind of bad at the end of a 5-hour show. Like, you need something great.
I'm going to get brutal and go 2.5 here. And I loved last year's match.
Yeah. I like
that.
No, it sucks. And this show, it kind of tells you that this company's not where it should be right now. In general, to be fair, AEW is not where it should be right now. I think with a lot of their storylines, they have the tournament to mask a lot of their issues. But if you take a lot of the tournament stuff out, they're in a rough spot right now. Like a lot of stuff AEW is doing. So it makes sense that Ring of Honor would also be on a downturn. Excuse me. I thought that there's a skeleton of a good company that could be put together with Ring of Honor. But there's so much nonsense involved as well on top of it. Jericho, the Sons of Texas, Danhausen coming in. We just need to really get back to the basics of what this company should be. What is this company?
Wherever this company goes in 2025, I really hope that there's a plan in place for it. Whether it's the TV deal, whether it's certain talents like Athena, Billy Starks, whoever you want to point at. We can either have a certain plan in place for these people, a good connection between them and the AEW roster too, so you don't have people stagnating like Athena is, where she lost a lot of where she was a year ago. Even though we know that she's beyond ready, we know her talent level is so high. It's just the company and the way they use her is just whack. And Billy Starks, nothing against her at all. Great potential, still very young. I think she's great for Ring of Honor. But whatever happens, like I said, I hope to see some positive changes and a real plan in place for the next year. And until then, hopefully all you guys enjoyed listening to the show. It was great to be back. We got a little bit of C2 action, a little bit of Ring of Honor action. Just know that we love being here talking to you guys about everything. We'll talk more in the near future for sure, especially with a super stacked week of C2 action. We're going to talk about that with all the Christmas shows, the holiday stuff, blah, blah, blah. It's going to be a lot of fun. So, World's End is coming up. We'll see how it goes. We'll see what the plans are, but we're going to talk to you later. We're near the end of the line with this Continental Classic. Hopefully you guys enjoy it. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this show as well. Obviously, we talked about all kinds of stuff. It was a ton of fun. And as always, I love you. Until next time, this has been your Wrestle Update.